Hello everyone, welcome. John Cottrell here of MBODY Yoga. This is Soft Flow. This is a 60-minute gentle yoga practice. Welcome, so glad that you're here. So for our practice today, I thought we'd do a semi-dynamic posture. We typically don't do too many dynamic things in this class. We like to keep things soft, gentle, and slow in this class. But I would like to do a little upper body work. And we're going to be working on a pose called Dolphin Pose. So Dolphin Pose really does kind of work the upper body, especially your arms, shoulders, and chest. Now, just like every other class, we'll do modifications and variations of the pose, plus we'll do a nice warm-up towards that posture. Now, we won't be doing the full posture, and if you do, we won't be holding it very long. It's mainly about just sensing your body, feeling how your body kind of approaches this particular pose that we call dolphin. Alrighty, so for our props, we like to use some things that will certainly support our bodies in our practice. You will need a blanket, and that's to sit on, but this will also help with dolphin pose since we're going to be on our forearms in that posture, so something soft on your body will be very nice to have. So a blanket, it can even be a towel. And then a couple of yoga blocks if you happen to have them, or something that might resemble yoga blocks. It could be some stacked books, okay? And then optional, nice big pillow or cushion, something like this. This is a yoga bolster. This might help with some of your postures in case you need a little extra support, especially in Shavasana, for example. Alrighty, so that's our props for our practice. And as always, we like to start in a seated position. So find a comfortable seat. You might sit with your legs crossed. I sit in half lotus. This is comfortable for me, and I like to sit on a blanket. You can sit in easy pose. That's just really just kind of crossing at the shins and ankles here like this. You can even extend your legs if that feels a little bit more comfortable. Even sitting up against a wall or in a chair if you need a little back support as we begin our class. Because we like to start with some breathing, what I call our breathing meditation. And you might start with taking a nice full breath in, breathing in through your nose. You can exhale through your nose or out through your mouth if you'd like. I can do that several times just to get reacquainted with your breath. Nice, slow, steady breaths, long and deep. And then you can just soften the breath, just taking steady breaths in and out. Just making your way inward. And you can do this with your eyes opened. You might take a soft gaze forward or even downward at the floor. You might even close your eyes to really move inward. Again, just noticing the feeling and the sound of your breath. Feeling stillness come over you. And all you can feel and sense is the movement of your breath. Good. Just continuing this breathing exercise. Even noticing how your body is responding to your breath. As you inhale, you might even feel your breath rising upward, expanding your lungs. And as you exhale, you might connect to your center. You can do that by gently drawing your navel inward towards your spine. Just feeling that engaged feeling in your belly. So again, a nice full breath in, feeling the breath rise, filling up your lungs. In your exhale to connect to center. Again, just this awareness of breath, the sound, and the feeling. Bringing you to this moment. This is also a nice time to set an intention. If you have an intention you like to bring to your heart and your mind, you can do that now. Go ahead and take 3 more breaths in and out. And we'll begin our moving meditation. When you're ready, just inhale and extend your arms out and then all the way up. Just reach for the ceiling and just treat it like a nice stretch. Then exhale, extend your arms out and then back down by your side. Just take your time with that. Good. Let's do that again together. Inhale, reaching out. Good extension out through your arms all the way up towards the ceiling. And then begin your exhale, reaching towards the walls on either side of you and then back down by your side. Go ahead and continue this movement. Move on your own and breathe at your own pace. And I'll just continue to provide some instruction. Now as you're extending and reaching and flowing, just feel good energy in your arms. Nice strong extension of the arms, reaching through your fingertips. And you're just really moving with the pace of your breath. The inhale allows the arms to float upward. And your exhale allows them to drift downward. And as I mentioned, we're going to be doing Dolphin Pose as our featured yoga position. And it does involve shoulders. So even this movement is the beginning of our warm-up of our shoulders. Just feeling that mobility. A few more times here as you inhale, reaching high, even feel a lengthening through the sides of your body, lifting upward. Exhale, extending out and down. Go ahead and take 2 more breaths on your own. Still moving at your own pace. And whenever you're complete, you can just bring your arms back down by your side. Let your hands rest in your lap. Let everything relax. The breath and your body. Still in our seated position, go ahead and take your hands behind you. You might lean back until you're resting on your palms, or you can even come up onto your fingertips here. And with the arms behind you, you're going to feel the shoulders draw back. I like to say that your shoulders are behind your heart. So your heart is forward here. And then tip your chin upward just a little bit, not too high. Again, just making a little bit more space in your front body, opening up your heart. And then take a nice full breath in. As you breathe in, feel the breath rise, fill up your lungs. Nice expansion there. Exhale, draw navel inward towards spine. So we're still engaging our center body. It doesn't have to be too strong or firm, just an awareness there. When you inhale, again, just feeling breath rise, fill up your lungs. Exhaling to engage your front body, but also engage your back body, maybe squeezing your shoulder blades together behind you. So we're just bringing a little bit more energy to your system. Even more still, as you inhale, even press into the ground with your hands or fingertips. Feel the energy up your arms, right into your shoulders. Breath rising, fill up your lungs. Exhaling, connect to center, squeezing shoulder blades together. Feel this energy in your body in this relatively simple pose. Just a mild seated back bend. One more breath in and out. After that breath, just lower your chin so it's neutral. Walk your hands towards yourself so you're sitting up tall. Even rest your hands back into your lap so everything can relax once again. Take a breath or two. Since that was our back bend, we'll now take a forward fold. So if your legs are crossed, you might uncross them here. And then place the soles of your feet together, like so. Now it's okay if the heels are close. When the heels are close, that means more of a bend in your knees. If that's a little uncomfortable, you can even slide your feet forward so there's less of a bend in the knees. And it's okay if the legs don't touch the ground. And for a little bit more support, if you want, then that's when you can use your blocks or books or even some pillows right here, just so your legs rest, literally rest and relax right there. And then just hold on to your shins or ankles. A little pull so you can actually lift yourself up. Be aware if you might be just kind of slouched a little bit. Just inhale, sit up nice and tall. When you exhale, draw belly in, just a way of supporting yourself as you begin to hinge forward just a little bit. Tiny bit, not big movements at all. And that's one of the qualities of this class, the soft flow practice, is that as we move into poses, we take our time. Don't force ourselves, no pushing, and you don't have to go too deeply. And you can stay just like this. I barely moved it, but I feel something here in my legs, in my back, and I feel quite comfortable. I feel like I can hold this for a long time. And that's kind of what you want to feel, that you're able to hold the posture in a way where you don't generate that stress response that's so common in our systems. I'm going to go a little deeper, so you might inhale to lift and lengthen through the spine. Exhale, draw belly in for a little bit more support, hinging forward. Now it's okay if your back rounds a little or a lot. You can even lower your chin. It's going to create a little bit more sensation or a different sensation down through your back, so just be aware of that. And we'll just take a couple more breaths. So we did our back bend, and this is our forward fold. Just getting into our hips a little bit. All right, now if your back did round and your chin did lower, just lift your chin a little bit so your neck is more neutral. Maybe you're looking out in front of you, putting a little bit more length in the spine. Even place your hands on the ground and push yourself up. Just a little assistance as you sit up nice and tall. Let's do one more pose since we are seated. Let's do a modified boat pose. So you're going to start to lean back just a little bit. Bring the knees together here, maybe feet flat on the floor, but step the feet forward so your heels are on the ground like that. And even flex your feet so your toes are up. Now, you don't have to lean back too far, just a mild lean back. And to help modify or support your body, just hold on with your hands underneath the knees. We're going to inhale just to extend the spine, lifting upward. Again, we have that little bit of a lean back, not too far. Exhale, draw belly in. This is a nice core strengthening position. Now, core energy really comes into play as we do our upcoming pose, Dolphin. This is a nice modification. Again, being in a posture like this that can be quite dynamic, but being in a place where we can actually hold it for a little bit longer than usual. How about 3 more breaths? Again, the inhale, just to sit up as tall as you can in this seated angled body. Exhaling, drawing belly in for that core connection. Really, you're flexing your abdominal muscles. And then just hold onto the legs and just lift yourself back up when you're finished. And we can cross the legs. Just come back to a neutral seated position so everything once again can relax. And then we'll get set up for our next pose. You don't have to move right away, but when you are ready to move, we're just going to manipulate the body so you can come to your hands and knees. Move in a gentle way. And then you might use your blanket for some padding for your hands and knees, since we will be on our hands and knees for this next part. There we are. So a little tabletop posture. So it's cat and cow. And it starts with cow pose, this nice flow. We'll inhale, look forward, slightly upward, arching the back, like so. That's cow. Exhale, we round the back. Navel pulls up towards spine, chin tucks in towards chest. And then reverse it. Inhale, feel the pelvis tip back to create that arch in the back. It's a little back bend, heart opens, look forward. Exhale, round it all out. Take your own pace with this. I'm going pretty slowly, but go at your own pace here. This undulation of the spine. Notice that rocking sensation in the pelvis. Let's also be aware of the hands, arms, and shoulders, because they're really not moving. Your hands are firmly planted on the ground, arms are straight and strong, shoulders are not in motion. However, with the rocking or the undulation of the spine and movement of the torso, the shoulders are actually working here too. And just for a little extra effect, just push a little bit more firmly into the ground with the hands, just to feel a little bit more energy there. Again, we're still just taking these steps forward towards Dolphin Pose. All right, finish the breath that you're on and take 2 more. This nice fluid sensation. And when you're complete, come to a neutral posture on hands and knees here, just holding in stillness. Take a breath or 2. All right, let's give the hands, arms, and shoulders a little break by sitting back into hero pose, really just getting the weight off the hands. If you can hold this posture for a few more seconds, go ahead and do so, because it might affect your feet and ankles, but just a way to get off the hands, and I'm circling the hands here and wiggling the fingers just to take that pressure off the hands, because we're going to come right back out onto the hands. So let's go ahead and do that. But first, just crawling off of the blanket or padding that you might be using so we can set it to the side, and then come back to hands and knees. Let's set up for downward facing dog. Here you'll step your hands forward, out from underneath the shoulders here. Spread out your fingers when you do that so you're creating a really strong base. And then press firmly into the mat with the palms so they flatten. And again, you'll feel that energy and strength in your arms that shoots right up to the shoulders. Hold that posturing. Tuck your toes. Let's do cat and cow again, that cat-cow flow. So cow, inhale, look up or forward, arching the back slightly. Exhale, round it all out. Hold cat pose as you now lift knees off the ground, sending hips up into the air. You'll do that kind of automatically by pushing hands into the floor, hips lifting. Adjusting the feet on your mat so you can feel pretty sturdy in the posture. Once again, just feel the hands pressed a little bit more firmly into the ground, more pressure towards your thumbs and index fingers if you can. Notice any sensation in the shoulders. One more breath. And then look straight down at the ground. Walk your feet forward until maybe you're in the center of your mat, until your feet are flat on your mat. Underneath you, you'll be in a deep forward fold for a second, but then inhale, slide your hands up the legs till about your shins or knees so you can extend your spine so you're flat like a table like this. Exhale, fold a little bit more, just going down towards toes. You might touch your toes, but you don't have to. Hold here for a moment. You can even put more bend in the knees, more roundedness in the back, even release your head. Couple more breaths. Then start shifting your weight back towards your heels. Bend your knees, let your hips come downward like you're sitting down into a low chair. Look forward with your eyes. Extend your arms out to the side like airplane wings. Drive your heels into the floor to straighten your legs, and then grow nice and tall. Reach up towards the ceiling. Treat it like a stretch. Exhale, arms come down by your side. Very nice, and you'll be in mountain pose. Let's just hold here for a moment. Let's go back to those shoulders. So let's circle the shoulders here, starting backward perhaps, and then forward. Even a little shake of the arms. Get that down into the hands, wrist, and fingers. Just kind of loosen things up. There we are. Good, let's do our half salute once again. So we're going to fold forward, going down, and then come right back up with good support. Together, let's inhale, extend the arms up into the air. There's our movement of shoulders. Exhale, spread your wings, bend your knees, and sit back into your imaginary chair. Slowly, with under control, fold your way downward. Inhale, slide your hands up the legs to shins or knees, extending your spine. Feel the top of your head lead you forward. Exhale, fold a little or a lot. We're still in motion. Shift weight back into the heels. Bend your knees, sit down into the imaginary chair, look forward, spread your wings again. Inhale and stand up all the way. Reach even higher if you're able. Notice that good mobility in your shoulders. Exhale, arms back down by your side. Once you're here, feel free to kind of shake all that out once again. Okay, all right, let's do our modified warrior one. Starting in mountain pose. You might even take a few deep breaths. To start the movement, we like to put a little bend in the knees and keep the bend in the knees. Start shifting weight into your right foot. Plant firmly into the ground with the right foot. Lean forward just a little bit, not much. You might even feel your right set of toes grip the mat. And then start tiptoeing or step the left foot back until it's not too far back, but you can still balance. You're on your toes or on the balls of the foot back there. And then turn the foot so you can bring the heel down to the ground and just plant yourself. And your whole body will shift and find its natural center. So the right knee will be slightly bent. left leg, it has a slight bend in the knee too, but the leg is turned and the toes are kind of pointing outward. That's what we want. Hands on hips, push pelvis down so you can get nice and tall up top. Turn so you're facing forward. Then we'll inhale, reach up into the sky. Exhale, hold. All right, let's just pay attention to the arms. Again, Dolphin Pose is an upper body strengthening position. Reaching into the air in this Warrior One posture. We're going to do a few things while we're in this mild lunge. First, bend your elbows so they're at 90 degrees. Sometimes we call this cactus pose. Just like this. Okay, I'm going to face you for a moment so you'll have this shape of your arms. And then you're going to bring the arms together like you're squeezing, like maybe think of it like an accordion or something. And you're squeezing, bringing the elbows together. And so we have this nice 90-degree angle. Can you see that? In the arms, okay? And imagine you are holding on to something between the elbows. Let's just take that in reverse. Open it back up to cactus. Inhale, shoot the arms up. Exhale, bring the arms down by your side. Actually, bring hands to hips. Lean forward. Put some weight and pressure into this right foot so you can step forward. Both feet together, straighten the legs, stand tall. Let's take both arms up into the air just to finish this nice sequence. Exhale, arms down by your side. You can come to stillness, shake everything out, and we'll do the same on the other side. So as you're shaking things out, so this is also going to be a helpful portion of our preparation for our dolphin pose, because this is the shape of the arms when we get to dolphin. All right, mountain pose. Put a slight bend in your knees, shifting weight into left foot, nicely planted. Start to lean forward so you feel like you're gripping the mat with your left set of toes. Let's start tiptoeing the right foot back, not too far, so you're balancing on the balls of the foot or tiptoes. Pivot right heel to the floor, turning outward, plant the foot, find that natural centering. Hands on hips, push pelvis down, get nice and tall in the torso, face mostly forward with the upper body. Here we go with the arms. Inhale, reach straight up. Exhale, hold. Okay, just hold this extension. This certainly takes a lot of energy in the arms. Just holding them up. And meanwhile, the feet are in a lunged position. Not too much distance between the feet, but we are in a lunge. All right, let's go ahead and bring the arms down to parallel, that goalpost or cactus shape. And then bring the elbows forward like you're squeezing an accordion. And then just hold as if you were holding on to something. So that squeezing sensation, just notice where you might have sensation as you squeeze to center. I'm kind of feeling this across the upper back. Notice where you have feeling. Then we'll open it back up. Inhale, take the arms up into the air, straight line. Exhale, bring the arms down, hands to hips. Lean forward, putting weight and pressure into the left foot. Step forward, feet together. Inhale, extend both arms up, straight line in the whole body. Exhale, arms down by your side. Shake it all out. All right, let's go ahead and put our flow together and make our way down. Whenever you're ready, inhale, extend both arms up into the sky. Exhale, spread your wings, bend your knees, sit back into your imaginary chair as you fold, maybe touching the ground, but you never need to. Inhale, extending your spine, sliding your hands up the legs, flat back like a table. Now this exhale, we're folding, bending. Take your time. Bend the knees more so you can bring your hands to the floor. So you can start bringing or stepping both feet back to the back end of your mat until you're in plank pose. Let's hold plank for a moment. Push into the ground, strong hands, arms, and shoulders. Inhale again. Exhale, bend knees slightly, lift hips up into the air. You'll be in downward facing dog. As needed, make any adjustments with your feet. I like to tiptoe forward a little bit. Make sure palms are flat, spread out your fingers. Strong arms. Okay, let's continue with the lunge. We're going to inhale, extend right leg up into the air. Lift the foot, extend the leg back. As you exhale, bend the right knee, bring it in underneath you towards your chest or chin, shifting your body weight forward so your shoulders are over wrist, kind of like plank.
And then set the right foot down. It'll just be your toes. And then the left knee can come down to the floor. This is a variation of getting the foot to the top of the mat because I'm using my hand. I'm literally picking up my right foot and placing it up near the right hand. So we're going to the second version of Warrior One. Relift the left knee. Pivot or turn left heel to the floor. Again, the leg will be turned out at an angle. Your toes are pointing at an angle. Step your hands back a little bit so you can put more pressure in that back foot. Your torso is long, extended over your right thigh. With this, we're going to inhale, stand up tall, reach up into the air, both arms. Exhale, hold. Maybe just bend this right knee a little bit more. Okay, we're going to get ready for Warrior Two. Let's breathe in first. Exhale, turn your torso towards the left side of the room. Bring your arms down to parallel. They'll be extended out over your legs. Hold here for a moment. Good energy in the arms and shoulders. And we're going to bend this right arm 90 degrees. Reach forward with that bent arm like that to angle the upper half of the body. Then rotate the body and bring this right arm perhaps to your mid-thigh. Right there. Then take left arm straight up into the air. So really not a whole lot of pressure on this right arm. Okay, really make this an extension. Left hand reaching up into the air. Some deep breaths. You kind of get this lengthening sensation through the left side of the body. This is side angle pose. Okay, stay here, but you're going to bring your left hand down behind you. Left hand perhaps to your low back if you can reach, or even just left hip. A few circles here. Let's roll this left shoulder back 2 or 3 times. Just some circles. On that last time, just hold it back. Again, we're getting the shoulder behind the heart. A couple more breaths here. All right, we're going to inhale, re-extend left hand straight up into the air with a straight arm. And we're going to turn on the exhale, turn to face the floor. Bend, so you can bring your palms back down onto the ground. Relift that left heel. Palms pressing into the ground strongly so you can slide the right foot back. Plank, hold. We're going to take a little break, bring the knees to the ground. Flatten the feet, sit back briefly, hero. Okay, circle the shoulders, kind of shake that out. Little circle of the wrist, wiggle your fingers. Alrighty, we won't be here too long, just kind of giving them a quick little rest. Back out onto the hands, spread out your fingers. Tuck toes, lift knees, lift hips. It's our downward facing dog, just a return. Make sure you're pressing more towards your thumbs and index fingers so you really get a firm connection. Here we go. We're going to inhale, lift the left foot and extend the leg back, reaching through your toes. Exhale, bend this left knee, bring it in underneath you, towards your chest or chin. Shifting body forward, shoulders over wrists. Set the left foot down, unless you can step all the way up to the hand. That's fine. Otherwise, step down, bring the right knee down, go get your left foot, just grab the ankle, pick up the foot and place it up higher. Relift the right knee, pivot right heel to the floor. Step the hands back a little bit just so you can get more energy into that back foot. You're extending your spine so it's out over this left thigh. When you're all set up, inhale, let's rise up, hinging from hips, reach up into the air. Exhale, just lunge a little deeper. So here's our second version of Warrior One. A wider stance, more distance between the feet. Breathe in. Exhale, turn your torso towards the right side of the room as your arms come down to parallel. Just be sure your left knee is pointing directly forward for nice alignment. Let's get ready for side angle. We're bending the left arm, returning that 90 degrees, reaching forward through the forearm, angled upper body. Rotate the body so your left forearm comes down to mid-thigh, while right hand reaches into the air. The energy is up, so not a lot of pressure on the leg with this arm. A few breaths. Your torso, pelvis, all open to the right side of the room. Stay here, but now bring right hand down behind you to low back, or if that's a little bit too much for the shoulder, just bring right hand to right hip. A few circles with the shoulder, 2 or 3 times, just loosening things up still. And then just hold it back so your shoulder is behind your heart. A few more breaths. Still not a whole lot of pressure on the leg with this arm. Your core is really holding you up. Let's inhale, re-extend right hand into the air. Exhale, we'll carefully turn and fold. Hands to the ground, rise up on tiptoes behind you so the heel lifts. More pressure into the ground with the hands. So you can slide the left foot back, plank. We're holding a bit longer. Then bring knees to the ground. Sit back briefly in hero. Alrighty. Now, while you're in hero, you might want to bring out your blanket. We're going to do a side plank pose. So, just want to get in a way where you're going to get sideways, as long as you can see me, okay? So I'm on my right side. So my legs are out, extended out in front of me, and I'm really just resting on my right forearm. And it's at 90 degrees, right there. And the hip is on the ground. Now, what we're going to do is actually lift the hip off the ground, but you don't have to lift the hip. You're going to make a fist, maybe with this right hand, and just kind of push into the ground. And you can see I'm kind of imagining that I can lift myself up. Okay, so I'm really just pushing into the ground so I'm not collapsed in the shoulder girdle, but kind of a lift right there. And that's all you really have to do. Okay, or you can place palm on the blanket here and actually press strongly enough, engaging core, and actually get the lifting of the left hip into the air. So it's really your feet helping out too. Okay, pressing the feet into the ground to get the hip into the air, and then just come right back down. We're not holding that very long. Okay, so it's either just press into the ground with the arm, in disengaging that locked shoulder girdle. This does take some core energy, even just if you're here, or going a little further by lifting the hip with the use of the feet. Okay, and then back down. We'll do that one more time, either one. Just the shoulder part or lifting hip. I'm going to stay on the ground for this one. I can still feel the engagement. I'm pressing. I can feel this engage. And then relax. You can just kind of feel that relax right there. You kind of sink and collapse into the shoulder and neck. All right? And then we're just going to do the other side. So you can just kind of swing around or just flip over. I'm just going to adjust my mat here. Okay? So that too is just kind of helping with shoulder strength as we get ready for dolphin. So I'm on the other side. Same thing. We'll do that 3 times, engaging 3 times. We have a nice right angle with the left arm. You can really just exaggerate that slump and sinking into this, and then press away. Okay, hold that. You're still breathing, but you can feel things energize, perhaps in the underside body. I'm gonna relax. I'm gonna lift this second time. Push, lift. The feet help to get the hip into the air. Not holding very long. And then right back down. Relax. And just one more time. Lift. I think I'm going to lift the hip once again. You choose. You can lift the hip or just stay on the arm, engaged, and then we'll come back down. Wonderful. Let's just come up to a seated position. Just a regular seated posture, perhaps like how we started our practice. Okay, just a nice neutral posture. So you can kind of shake out the shoulders again. Some movement in their head, neck, and shoulders, and some deep breaths. Because that might feel quite new to the body, slightly stressful to the body. So we want to make sure that we take care of ourselves by coming out of that stressful situation to a place that's calm and neutralizing. All right, we still have some more upper body work to do. We're still making our way towards dolphin. So you're going to manipulate your way back to hands and knees. Let's get our blanket in place. Alrighty. Now from hands and knees, we're actually going to take this to child's pose. So you might take your knees wider. That's what I like to do. Knees a little wider. And then start to sit back. Now you can sit all the way down if that feels okay on your ankles and knees, but you don't have to sit all the way back. And then your arms come out in front. Now if your hips are high, you might bend the elbows like this and just kind of rest. Almost kind of relax. You don't have to engage too much. Just right here, okay? Or if you are able to sit all the way back, bring your forehead down to the ground or even a block or a pillow if you'd like. And extend your arms out front. They can even be out at an angle a little bit, just depending on how this feels on your shoulders. And some deep breaths, okay? Just a different energy and awareness for for the shoulders. 3 more breaths here. All right, let's bring the hands in a little closer so we can come back up onto hands and knees. Okay, so we're here. Now, instead of being on our hands, we're going to come down to elbows like this. So one at a time, just bring the elbows down, see if you can form that same right angle here. Okay? And as best as you can, we're keeping the arms pretty parallel to one another. But if that feels a little awkward, the hands can also come in a little closer towards each other, towards center, so you form more of a triangle type shape with the arms. That might feel differently or better, perhaps, on the shoulders, okay? Now, the same sensation as we did sideways, just going to kind of collapse. Can you see how I'm just watch me here, I'm just really just collapsing, just dropped right into the arms here. No engagement in the upper body. I'm going to breathe in, but when I exhale, pull belly button up towards spine, then push into the floor with the elbows to broaden the back, and that will activate the shoulders. And then relax. Okay, you do that with me. So we're going to sink, inhale in this sunken position, exhale, push into the ground, not only with elbows, but also with forearms and maybe your hands. Engage, engage. And then relax. We're going to do that one more time. Inhale first. When you exhale, engage belly, push away from the ground. Elbows, forearms, and hands, broaden your back. And then relax. We're going to add another piece. Okay? So we're on our knees. I'm going to step my arms forward a little bit. My hands, I've got my arms kind of at that angle, like the triangle shape. That seems to feel a little bit better for me today. So we're going to inhale in this collapsed position. Exhale, pull belly up towards spine, push away from the ground, pushing elbows, forearms, hands in the ground, broadening the back, tuck toes, but then extend one leg back and then the other. So we're basically just lifting the knees off the ground. So I call this dolphin plank. So we're almost to dolphin. We're just in a straight line, but we're on our elbows. Release, relax, bring the knees back down, sit back into child's pose. This time with child's pose, instead of extending the arms out front, bring your arms down by your side so your shoulders can actually relax here for a moment. Let them hang. Deep breaths. Again, we're doing a dynamic pose, but taking our time with moving ourselves into the posture so that when stress starts to kind of circulate and percolate, we can kind of nip it and come back to relaxation. It's a good tool to have, I think, even just in regular situations. As things start to percolate inside and stress starts to build, you have a mechanism of coming back to neutral and calm. All right, let's bring the hands back out front, come back up to hands and knees. Step hands forward a little bit. One elbow at a time, bring the elbows down. Arms can be parallel or form that triangle shape. Inhale, collapse. Exhale, push away, broaden the back. Feel the shoulders engage. Step one leg back or foot back so the leg is straight, then the other. Dolphin plank. One more breath if you've got it. Rest. Come to knees. Come back up to hands and knees. Right here. Okay? Now I'm going to move my blanket a little bit so it's just a square up front so I have a little bit more freedom of my knees and legs. Okay, now we're going to start moving into that dolphin pose. Basically, dolphin pose is downward facing dog. We just happen to be on our elbows. So let's stay on our knees, come down to elbows. Arms can stay parallel or bring hands together, whatever feels right. Tuck toes, okay? Because we're going to use that to help lift knees and hips into the air like we do into down dog. Inhale, collapse, sink chest. Exhale, engage belly, round the back as your elbows, arms, and hands press into the floor. Then lift knees off the floor, hips into the air. This is dolphin. Make sure you're pressing firmly into the ground with forearms and hands. We're not holding long. Bring the knees back down. Okay, we're going to fire up the body one more time. Here we go. Inhale, sink, collapse. So you can feel the difference. Exhale, broaden the back. Arms are pressing firmly into the ground. Keep that broadness. And then lift knees, lift hips. Knees can stay bent, and your hips don't have to lift very high for this variation. Strongly holding. We're still breathing. Make sure you're still breathing. And now we'll come down. Let's take our modified child's pose. Sit back. Take arms behind you. Let your forehead rest on the ground or a pillow or your blanket. Let the shoulders completely relax here. Come back to deep breathing. That's dolphin. That's all we're doing today. So even with all the setup, we did a lot of upper body strengthening, stretching, and just preparing for that dynamic pose. Even though we didn't hold it very long, even just the procedure of working towards it gave us a nice little workout. And hopefully you were able to stay calm throughout the process. Take 3 more breaths. Let's bring the hands forward. Come back up onto hands and knees. You know how we did cat and cow? We're in this tabletop and we rounded the spine. Why don't we do it with dolphin arms? Okay? All we're doing is bringing the elbows back down to the ground like this, but do cat and cow. So an inhale to look forward, arching the back a little, exhale round. Just a slightly different sensation. And this is actually a nice alternative when we're doing it regularly, when we're on our hands, since that has an effect on the wrists. So this is a nice alternative. If you need to rest your wrists, you can just bring the elbows down to the ground and do that same arching and rounding. Slightly different sensation though, but still quite effective. 3 more breaths. All right, we'll go ahead and sit back. Let's move our blanket slightly out of the way here. We can come to our closing sequence. So go ahead and take a seat. Finding a seat in the center of your mat. Make sure to grab your blocks. We're going to move into bridge pose in a moment. So grab your blocks or books. Go ahead and lie down. We're lying down with knees bent, feet flat on the ground. And just hold here for a moment. Take some deep breaths. A bit of relaxation after those engaging postures, being on our forearms and elbows. Whenever you're ready, no rush. You'll inhale, fill up your lungs. Exhale, lifting hips high enough so you can slide your stacked books or blocks underneath you, and then just sit on them. So you can come to this kind of relaxed feeling here. As comfortable as you can get. Just creating an opening for the whole front side of the body. Some deep breaths here. So we're in a mild, supported back bend. I like to call it supported bridge pose. Deep breaths. Check in with your breathing and just notice, were you able to breathe this deeply when we were working through our dolphin poses? All right, let's add on to this. We'll stay on our stacked books or blocks, but you can always do this just flat on your mat. Okay? We're going to move into an inverted posture. Now you can just take one leg up into the air, and the leg doesn't have to be absolutely straight. It might be something like this, just up. You can do one at a time or both at the same time, whatever feels good for you. Sometimes you might need a little extra support to balance the body so you can keep one foot planted into the ground. So the legs can fully extend if that feels okay, or keep the knees bent. Regardless, you've got the legs up. It works. And then maybe some movement of the feet. Just as I had you circle your wrists, let's do the same with the ankles here. Just circle the feet a little bit to get into the ankles. Sometimes your ankles can get a little stiff. Okay, from walking, from running, or even just wearing shoes or boots all day. Because it's not very easy to flex and point if you've got shoes on. Even wiggle your toes if you can. And this is very therapeutic too, just to get the legs up, just to get that recirculation of blood and oxygen. All right, let's go ahead and bring the feet back down to the ground. Find the earth. Press into the ground, lifting hips so you can remove your blocks out from underneath you. And just come back down. Hold for a moment, find that relaxation. Let's take a hip opener, no rush to get there. I'll give you several that you can play with. You can do any or all of these. Go ahead and hug both knees into chest, or just catch your knees or shins. Here's one I like to do. I like to flex the feet and then take the legs wide, opening them up. And then take my hands, right now they're on the shins, but I'm going to take them to the inside of the legs here, just at the knees. And gently press the legs outward and downward, okay? What I imagine here is like I'm riding a horse, okay? So I'm straddled over the horse, feet flexed, getting that stretch in the inner thighs. You can hold this, or then imagine you might be on a bicycle, or that horse has bicycle pedals, and you have to pedal it to make it go. So a little movement in the legs and hips. I just like this. And then you could just move into a regular happy baby pose, taking the feet up towards the ceiling, holding onto the soles of the feet, pressing downward gently. That too will get into the hips nicely, so you might be choosing this one. I'm going to give you two more. Again, you can do any or all of these. Reclining cobbler's pose, more of the traditional version where we bring the soles of the feet together, hold on to the feet or ankles. We did this seated, okay? And feel the heels press down towards pelvis as your knees or legs press gently forward towards the front of your mat, and just lie flat, so your back might even feel quite flat on the ground. That's our first version here. And the second version, if you choose to do it, is keep the feet pressing together, but bring the legs down to the floors, so you don't have to hold yourself up. And if you need a little extra support, just as we did seated, bring your blocks or pillows or books underneath the knees, because remember the legs don't have to touch the ground, but they might feel quite comfortable just resting on something. I like this version because it's quite relaxing. You can take those deep breaths. So whatever hip openers you enjoy, go ahead and move into those, even repeating ones that you have already done. We will be taking a twist in a moment. So starting to wrap up your hip openers. How about 3 more breaths? And when you're ready, you can bring the legs together. Bring the knees up and together. Give yourself another hug. Move my blocks out of the way. Even a little movement here. I like to hold onto the knees or shins and just kind of circle the legs affecting perhaps the back and hips, whatever feels good. You can, I like the circles, maybe a rocking left and right, forward and back. These gentle releases. And then when you're ready, you can take the knees, both knees over to the left side, all the way down to the ground, or use those blocks or pillows to help support so the legs don't have to go all the way down. That'll just modify the rotation so you don't feel like you're over-rotating. So knees to the left, right arm extends to the right. And we'll take several breaths here. I think what's wonderful about a yoga practice, especially the one that we did today, we had some focus on upper body, doing dolphin pose and all the variations of the posture. And then towards the end of the practice, here we are doing hip openers and twists. So we really get to effectively take care of the entire body. Let's take 3 more breaths. When you're ready, come back up to center. I'd suggest pausing here for a moment so everything can realign, come back to neutral. And then when you're ready, take the knees down to the other side, again using any props there to help support your body, which is what I like to do for these twists. Feels good. Even placing a block between the knees is nice. So knees to the right, left arm to the left. And then just see how much the body can relax here. So we're almost at the end of our practice. We've left enough time to hold a nice long restorative posture. That might be Shavasana or any other pose. And I'm going to demonstrate another nice restorative position. How about 3 more breaths? You can stay here longer if you like, but whenever you're ready, when you've completed that last twist, return to center. Find that neutrality. All right, now get ready for Shavasana or any other restorative posture. So from here you might extend your legs right out in front of you, lying flat, arms down by your side, and you're there. Or you might be using some of your props that you brought in for this practice for something a little bit more comfortable for you. And I'm going to attempt to do something here. Let's see. I'm going to take my blocks, and I wish I had another stack of blocks because I would like to have this a little higher, but I think this will work. So I've got my blocks. I'm going to bring in my bolster, and I'm kind of creating this little tower right here. And it would be nice if this was a little higher, but I think this will work. And what I'm going to do is just rest my calves on the bolster here, just to elevate my legs a little bit. And I'm going to use my blanket just for a little softness for my shoulder blades and head. Let's see if I'm all situated right here. So anything, you can get really creative using props and just using anything you really have at home. Well, this feels really nice. And you might find that you can really relax quite nicely like this, just having a slight elevation in the legs, softness underneath you, or even just a bend in the knees. Sometimes just a rolled up blanket or an additional yoga mat underneath bent knees. That can be quite nice for your low back. You can lie on your side. Sometimes lying on your back may not be all that comfortable for your spine, for your hips. So maybe lying on your side if that feels okay. Or even coming up to a seated position. Maybe sitting up against a wall, put a blanket behind you.
legs extended or legs crossed. Finding that place of neutrality, ease, comfort. I want this to be a place where you can hold and meditate. We're just holding in stillness and silence, listening to the sound of the breath, feeling the flow of the breath. Stay here as long as you need to. There's certainly no rush to move. Again, stay here as long as you'd like. Even as I end the practice and come up to seated, you can stay just as you are, especially if you've established a very comfortable position using your props. And you can end your practice when you feel fit. And when you do feel it's time to complete your practice, let's start with a few deep breaths. Start to bring movement back into the body. You might wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, move your feet and your hands. Still generating energy in the body. You might take 5 slow breaths. Feeling movement return. After your 5th breath, you might roll onto either side of your body. This also might mean carefully coming off of your props if your legs are elevated or draped over a blanket or pillow. And still moving in slow motion. Take your time. Come up to seated. You might sit on your blanket or a block or pillow. Find a nice extension in your spine by sitting up tall. Arms relaxed down by your side. Make sure your shoulders are nicely relaxed and your hands are relaxed in your lap. Take a breath. Very nice. And then one more movement together. Let's inhale, extend both arms up into the air, reach high, nice. As you exhale, bring your hands together and down to your heart. Once again, hold in stillness, find your breath. And as we come to the close of this practice together, we bow, saying, Namaste.